So the meeting of the APPV for November has been brought to order.
Debbie?
We will be recorded for this meeting. Do I have any objections? Okay, hearing no objections. We start off first by looking at the agenda, seeing if there needs to be anything adjusted or before final approval. We definitely have the one thing, we do need to update let me make sure this is shared. We do need to update the name of the CP and healthcare program that we're going to be looking at. And can I have someone please put that name in the chat so I can do that a little bit later.
Chris, may I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Bryce is here.
Yeah.
And he needs to go to an event in Benton and leave by 3:30. Would it be possible to move 5.4 to the top of the list of new business, just so that he can briefly talk about the CP? And it should be health information technology, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Bryce? Not health care?
Yeah, so it's going to be a CP and health information technology. That is correct.
Health information technology, thank you. Without objections, I'd have I have a motion to suspend the rules to make that change. I hear no objections, so we will suspend the rules and let's go straight to that, please. You have the floor. Let me. Oops. You maybe have the floor.
Okay, great. So, well, this is the first time I'm attending this meeting, so I don't really know the order of which I need to speak in, but I will just let you guys know. So we developed, working with Talia Johnson and Aaron in the Career Institute, we've kind of developed a new CP for Health Information Technology program. And basically what we're going to do is the students would be eligible to take our medical terminology course, our pathophysiology with pharmacology course, and then elect to take our health record systems and issues course. It is a fully stackable kind of certificate, and they can roll right into the TC for the medical office technology program, although we are working on that, but it will roll into that currently and afterwards. And then it can roll right into our Associates of Applied Science and Health Information Technology. So it's going to give students in the high school setting, currently, at least what we envision now, the ability to jumpstart their track into the health information technology world. So that's kind of what we're looking at doing. And I think we met with Dr. DePro previously, and she seemed to be on board, and the Career Institute or Career Center seemed to be on board with that as well. So we bring it to the floor here to get graces from all of y'all. So.
All right. Do I have a motion to open the floor to discussion?
So moved.
Second? And without objection, we will open the floor to discussion. Do I have any objections? I have no objections. The floor is open. Do I have any questions?
I have one question. Did I hear that it is all of all three classes can be taken at Career Center? Did you hear me?
Yes, yeah. So it will be, yes, because we're going to be offering our health record systems and issues course to the Career Center students who elect this pathway.
And then Bryce, refresh my memory. All of these courses are in our catalog now. They're a part of the Associate of Applied Science program already. We're just trying to make the smaller bite-sized chunks of degree credentials up to the AAS. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. So
Okay.
currently all these courses are being taught in our program, and yeah, you are correct.
That's right. And then the Career Center move was really to try to recruit more students into the program.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, we're trying to show there's other avenues in healthcare other than patient bedside care. So, and that's kind of where we fit into that little puzzle and mix.
I take it that therefore there won't be any new faculty necessary. There won't really be any new cost associated. Won't necessarily be any new revenue associated, but since there's not really any new cost associated, it's going to be pretty much neutral when it comes to the financial side.
Yes. There is potential for increased income because some um, students outside of the Career Center could elect to take the CP, and we have a special fee in our HIT program. So any student enrolled in an HIMT coded course, we collect $100 fee for that. I don't know how that relates into the Career Center, but if a student elects to take that CP, those courses, they may take those and increase student enrollment in that area.
Dr. Kramers?
For the Career Center, medical will be the top tier pay. And so revenue could actually be something, if we have good enrollment, we could, make more if we're using existing faculty and what they're doing, we would be bringing in revenue to help support those students and that enrollment coming into UAPTC. So this could be a revenue maker if we can get good enrollment.
And we are currently using the faculty that we already have. We have an open position that we're looking to fill, but it's been open previous to this. So currently our staff can sustain the additional courses that might arise from the CP. Sections, not new courses, sections, sorry.
Dr. DePro, you had a question?
Yeah, I can't decide if I should speak or not, so I don't know what I'm doing here. But the funding formula, it depends on if we're up or down as an institution and helping students be successful. But there could be points if we award the CP in health information technology that would contribute to a positive trajectory on the funding formula. So it does help with revenue in that context. And HIT is now declared a high demand STEM program. So there's even some extra bonus points for a CP, a TC, or the AAS when we grant it. And that's a little bit new. So I think we should shut up and let y'all vote because there's motions in the chat.
There has been a motion and a second to approve the CP and HIT program. So since we have had a motion and a second, we will now move to vote. All in favor, please type aye in the chat. All opposed, nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Yeah, in the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and we'll be advancing this up to the next rung. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to talk and suspending the rules. I will let y'all get back at it, and I'm going to head out. Thank you.
Okay, have a good one. All right. So now let's get back to approving the agenda. Do I have any objections to the agenda? If not, since there are no objections to the agenda and no edits except for the one that we've talked about, which is just changing the title to correctly identify that last program, then the agenda is accepted. All right, next up is the minutes for the last meeting. Try to get those up here. So these were sent off in an email last week. Do I have any suggested edits for the minutes last month? Hearing no edits to the minutes from last month, it is assumed that the minutes are agreed to and now accepted. All right. Now, moving on to the next order of business, which is old business. And the old business that we have up is the charter. So when I presented the charter to SAAC, whenever their last meeting was, which I can't quite remember right off the top of my head, it was pointed out that there is somewhere in shared governance, in the shared governance guidance, that says that it must be business days and not days, even though it looks like a whole bunch of shared governance committees aren't actually following that. Because of that, they did not approve of that part of our charter, but they did approve to the two other changes, which is changing the one title of the info. Well, let's see, what was it? It was institutional research, changing that title, and the change to the term limit for the chair. So those two things have been accepted, but since they did not accept the change to business days, we will need to basically discuss and then decide on whether we approve of this new slightly adjusted charter without the change from business days to days. That's really the only difference. I have a motion to open discussion. All right, do I have a motion to open to vote on accepting the charter with the two changes mentioned?
I move to vote.
Okay.
This
Second.
is Debbie Desjardins.
Oh, moving to vote. Okay.
And we've had a second. So all in favor of accepting the charter with the two changes mentioned before, and say aye. If you do not, say nay, and please do that in the chat. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. And we will now try to move this back up. It won't have to go through SAC again, but I was told by college council that they couldn't accept it on this past month's, which was Friday, this past month, because we hadn't accepted the actual version that was going to be moved up to them. So that will probably go up to them on their next meeting. But the current version we just accepted has been accepted by SAAC. All right, moving on to the next order of business, which is new business and the TC in education. Do I have somebody who will be presenting that for us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm Tracy Johnston. Actually, can we do that? Is it possible? Do you want to do these together, or is that Dr. DePro shaking her head? Yes, they certainly are stackables, but I wanted to make sure.
We'll have to vote on them separately since they
You
are
don't
Correct.
have to
separate.
vote on them separately. You could vote to choose, pair them together as a vote. Somebody need to make a motion to take them together though and have that seconded.
I
I
can
move-
I can move to vote in aggregate for that.
Second.
Did I say that right?
Okay. I have a motion.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have, well, I guess we'll need to take the vote on this one. All in favor of that, please say aye. All opposed, say nay. But give me a moment before you start voting. Because for the sake of our recorder, let me put this in chat. I should have done it on the last one. Aggregating. Aggregating. I am probably going to misspell aggregating sorry. All right, now let's do it. All in favor of aggregating the two education programs, say aye. If you're opposed, say nay. Go ahead and do that in the chat now. At the time I forget to vote. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. All right, let us begin. Go ahead.
All right, I was glad Bryce went first because I have not presented before as well, so that was helpful to see the process. So we currently have an ASE in education, and what these two additions will be is a CP and a TC. So it's creating a stackable degree, so our students will have their certificate of proficiency, which they can complete in one semester. Then they can move into the technical certificate, and then they can continue on in the existing ASE. So this was created with some discussion from ADE, Dr. DePro, Dr. Hunt, Ashley, and as most of you know, there's a huge need right now in our school systems for teachers. So creating this doesn't allow teachers to be certified in the sense of a licensed teacher, but it would allow them to sit for a paraprofessional exam and actually get into the classroom quicker as like a parapro in the classroom. And so it certainly will benefit our students and also benefit our schools and our communities to have them getting that experience in the classroom, but also meeting a great need that our schools have right now. So I'll take any questions.
All right, I'll start off. Is there any expectation of requiring new faculty for either the two programs, or is it basically all just pre-existing classes?
It's pre-existing classes, so there would be no need for new faculty at this time.
Okay. Well, so I'll ask another just to make sure, and I'm basically going to ask the same question I asked with the last presentation. So the expectation is this is mostly at worst going to be be financial neutral, maybe possibly somewhat revenue positive, but at least not cost wise. There should be no real change.
No real changes, no, because these are all existing classes, so there shouldn't be any revenue changes. other than we may get more students who see the benefit of getting a CP or a TC so they can get into the classroom quicker. So it could be a good recruiting tool, which would bring more students to the program possibly.
Right. Well, my big concern on all of these is it is whether or not it's going to be more cost or more revenue. But if the cost doesn't change that much, we aren't going to worry too much about the revenue yet. That can be more of a concern as it goes up the ladder. Do I have a motion to vote on the two programs as aggregated? I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Okay, give me a moment. All right. If you approve of the two programs as aggregated, vote aye, please, in the chat. If not, vote nay. Okay, in the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. And we will move this up to the next committee. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Next up, we have the TC and aesthetics. I have somebody present for the aesthetics program.
I think, Chris, if we could, Dr. K is here. I think we'd like to table this one.
All right.
Reason being is we'd like to take another look at this particular type of cosmetology work and see if we couldn't layer in another element to it that would make our graduates have an opportunity to earn more money. And Dr. K, does that sound about right? I think we wanted to go back and look at hair removal as part of the aesthetics program or some kind of skincare option. I can't remember what the SOC codes were calling it.
The skincare specialists.
That's it. Yeah, and it would be
we
aesthetics plus hair removal. So
I think the rules of order on tabling is that we do need to try to put a particular timeline on when we're going to table it. So are we going to try to table it to the next month's meeting, or are we going to move it to sometime later in 2023?
Dr. K, do you happen to have a time frame on that? I'm thinking 2023.
I think the first month that would be available is February. I don't think we meet into January.
I'd like to confer Robert Rules of Order, if that's all right, about saying with a table you have to pick a time. If I can just
I'm
take.
not sure you have to.
I didn't think, I'm gonna check the book real quick.
Okay.
So if I could just hold on responding when.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. But don't hold up for me.
I could have swore I read that at some point, but I had to read about tabling versus some other term where it's like if you're moving it to later in the same meeting. Well, we could do this. We could just say we'll table it to the next meeting. And then if it turns out it needs more time, we can just table it again.
That's right. We just keep tabling it until it comes back. That's right. We'll move it to old business.
That would be
Yeah, because we need some time to research it And we're not tabling it till later in the meeting. We're tabling it till we get the chance to flesh it out a little bit more.
Right.
Because our data we were looking at was almost a $10,000 a year difference in the occupations. And so we wanted to make sure that was the best option for our students. So,
All right, let's do that. Let's table it to the next meeting. And then if we need to table it again, we can do so at that meeting. And then we don't have to worry about whether there's a particular timetable for tabling it.
perfect.
All right, I have a motion to table to the next meeting from April. Do I have a second? All right, I do have a second. So all in favor of tabling until the next meeting, say aye in the chat. All opposed, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. And we will table that vote until at least the next meeting. All right, so now moving on to the next order of business, which is questions and next steps. Do we have any questions or any next steps that we need to discuss about the meeting that we are currently in? Whoa, okay, my computer screen went all nuts. Okay. If I have no questions or next steps, move on to the next order of business, which is just assessing how well this meeting went. Anybody have any compliments for the meetings? Anybody have any disappointments about the meeting that you think we can do better next time?
We were efficient.
We were efficient. We got through this in about, well, it says 3:36, but we didn't exactly start at 3 o'clock. So we got through these pretty quick. Oops. Oh, that was not a message from somebody. That was a message from Teams saying, "Hey, you're messing up something, but it's not important." Okay. All right. So there is nothing left on the agenda, and since there is nothing left on the agenda, and I am not hearing any new additions that need to be added, this meeting is hereby adjourned. Unless there's.
Thanks, Chris. Well done.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Tammy, if you're still, no.